DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Against the Boards. I'm your host, Chamberlain Bauder, hitting you with a short intro today because ultimately, despite the situation of the Amerks, of course, playing a game last night, and they've got 2 coming up against the Checkers on Friday and Saturday. Not a lot of Amerks to talk about this week just from me because, sorry guys, things have been a little bit hectic and a little bit busy. But let's talk quickly about that game yesterday from the Rochester Americans. Isak Rosen extends his point streak to 7 games in the AHL. Devin Levi can't come up with the win, the first time in his career that he's lost to the Utica Comets. Still made 26 of 30 saves, but ultimately in the end, team was able to get back to 3-3, but could not keep it and get it done in the third period and take home a win. Honestly, there's so many different interesting storylines going on around, the Sabres, the amount of goalies that are in that room. I watched the Flyers game last night with Rasmus Dahlin getting ejected. The whole organization has many storylines that kind of flow through the whole thing when it comes to goaltenders, allowing a lot of goals, having defenders that aren't able to get into those defending rebound situations. And unfortunately, it reflects way worse on any goalie that's in goal for them than it maybe should in a lot of circumstances. That's worse in Buffalo than it is in Rochester, but ultimately definitely something to note for any fans that are kind of frustrated with the goalie play out of the Rochester Americans. In the realms of that Amerks stuff, just quickly, obviously we said they've got 2 games coming up this weekend against the Charlotte Checkers. Usually it's a fun contest to watch. Ultimately this season with kind of the slew of some of the last couple games, I bet they'll go 1-1 with the Checkers, but ultimately, I feel like in most years past, I always have an expectation or a goal or a vision in mind for the Amerks, and I won't lie, this is the first year that I've gotten to a point in the season where we're already this deep and I don't have that vision. Hopefully in time that will come, but before I send you over to Spencer, let me give you a quick rundown from the PR side of everything going on for the Rochester Knighthawks this upcoming week. Of course, the NLL season started last week. It was San Diego beat Ottawa. That's the game to keep an eye on because they're going to be the season opener for the Knighthawks, of course. We saw the Bandits take on the Swarm and plenty of other teams around there. But ultimately, 2 weeks before this Knighthawks squad gets to play their first game of the season, we have Media Day coming up this weekend. Individual ticket sales go on sale tomorrow. That's probably the biggest thing, honestly, in terms of everything. With the new ownership, we hadn't been able to sell tickets yet, and now, starting tomorrow, individual game tickets will officially be on sale after all of our season ticket holders got squared away. But then also, we've got Media Day coming up this weekend, so all of the players will be into the area for their physicals and different things or not their physicals, but their physical training testing, pretty much, the speed testing, the strength testing, flexibility, all of those things. And it'll be a good weekend in general just for kind of that team bonding, team building aspect of things for the Knighthawks before they all get on a plane and head out to San Diego for that December 14th matchup. Couldn't be more excited for the season to finally feel like it's here and get rolling. But that's all I will say about the National Lacrosse League, and I will now turn it over to Spencer Conley.
Week 1 in the NLL has come to a conclusion. 4 games and 4 winners. Friday night was the home opener for the Oshawa Firewolves as they took on the Toronto Rock. Back and forth, low-scoring affair. Both teams struggled to get the ball in the back of the net early on. It was a very low-scoring first quarter. Leading the way for the new Oshawa Firewolves was Alex Simmons, righty forward, had 4 assists to go along with 2 goals, 6-point night for him. Leading the Rock with points in his NLL debut. On defense for Toronto, Sam English, another rookie, had a big day with 11 loose balls and 4 caused turnovers. The game was won and lost between the pipes. Nick Rose had 32 saves, and Doug Jamieson for Oshawa had 48. Oshawa crowd was really good. Looked like a really good environment for the players. A lot of Toronto fans made the trip to Oshawa, and it was a really good game to start the season. Now we'll go to Saturday night, where we had 3 games with 3 different results. We're going to start with the Colorado Mammoth and the Vancouver Warriors. This is one I did not see coming. In between the pipes for Colorado, Dylan Ward was an absolute beast. 37 saves on 44 shots, only 7 goals allowed, an 84.1% save percentage, which is massive. Christian Del Bianco was in the pipes for Vancouver. Wasn't his best game, but again, another 36 save performance. Should have been enough to get a win for Vancouver, but the offense just wasn't there. Backing up for Vancouver was Connor O'Toole. Really nice to see him getting dressed for these games. O'Toole family's a big deal here in Rochester, so it's always good to see Pat's son get a chance in this league. Offensively for Colorado, it was the Will Malcolm show. A sock trick, 6 goals, 2 assists for 8 points. On the Vancouver side, it was a group effort. Keegan Ball had 7 points. Jesse King, former Roughneck that came to Vancouver in free agency, had a 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points. Again, like I said earlier, it was a very good game for Dylan Ward. He was a beast between the pipes and kept Colorado in it and ultimately sealed the deal in the end. Game number 3, we're going to go over to the 7-1-6 in Buffalo, where the Bandits took down the Swarm 15-11. Dane Smith had a casual 8 points, another 4-goal, 4-assist performance for him. For Georgia, it was a rookie showing as Michael Grace had a 4-point night, all assist, but he looked phenomenal for Georgia. Shane Jackson had a 6-point night with 4 goals and 2 assists. Lyle Thompson with a 1-point game. Was really interesting to see him just not really make that great of an impact on the game, as he's one of the best players in the league and is an all-time great. Caleb Benedict had a very good showing for Georgia. 2 goals, 3 assists. Another young guy on that offense. He had a really nice one-timer on the power play for Georgia. Story of the game came down to the shots on net. Buffalo had 59 shots and Georgia only had 43. That's a 16-shot difference in a close game. So it really shows how good Brett Dobson, and when Devlin Shanahan had to get called in, he did a really good job. This is the first time that I actually saw Matt Vince somewhat struggle. He had 32 saves on 43 shots, 11 goals against, only a 74.4 save percentage. He did not look that great, and for the Knighthawks, that is a very good sign. Fourth and final game, we saved San Diego for last as they marched into Ottawa and had a 3-goal victory over the Black Bears. Only a 3-goal game in the end, but this game was dominated by the Seals. San Diego marched out to a 6-0 lead before Ottawa finally struck in the second quarter. Chris Origlieri was phenomenal in that. 37 saves on 50 shots. And overall, he just dominated the Black Bears, especially in that first quarter. Zach Higgins had a pretty good day with 40 saves. Not too much to say about his performance other than he got pulled for it says 25 seconds on the stat sheet. I thought he played well. He really kept them in the game early on when they had nothing to go offensively. And I think there's been talks around the league about, is Higgins going to get traded? I personally do not think so. But if we get to the trade deadline and there's a team, wink wink, Rochester, that is a goaltender away from competing for a championship, Ottawa might have to bite the bullet and get some draft capital for this guy. Trey LeClaire, number 33 for San Diego, had a 5-goal outing. He was big on offense for San Diego. Rob Hellier in his Black Bears debut had 8 points, 3 goals, and 5 assists. Jeff T, with a 2-goal, 2-assist performance for 4 points, had 15 shots on net. He led the Black Bears by a wide margin in shots. Trevor Baptiste dominated the faceoff dot against Brett Noseworthy, Sam LaRue, and Reed Kirst. Next, we're going to talk about Week 2. Only 2 games this week. First off, on Friday night, we have Friday Night Lacrosse in Halifax. Thunderbirds will be hosting the Oshawa Firewolves, fresh off their inaugural win in Oshawa over the Toronto Rock. It's going to be interesting to see who Micah Kersey puts between the pipes. It'll either be Warren Hill or Drew Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson deserves an opportunity. He was really good for the Peterborough Lakers in the MSL this season. Warren Hill's had his time to prove his value, and he has had some games where he struggled, so it'll be interesting to see who Kersey puts between the pipes. On Saturday night, it's the home opener for the Rush in Saskatchewan. They'll be hosting the Calgary Roughnecks. A completely new-look Calgary squad lost a ton in the offseason. Rush obviously made the NLL Finals last year, coming up just short in Game 3 against Buffalo. Thank you all for listening. This has been another episode of Against the Boards.